Safe. From KCRG TV9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
Good evening. Welcome to finally the Friday night edition of First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson.
I'm meteorologist AJ Rickman.
It's been a week of pretty typical kind of January weather. A little on the cool side of average, but nothing extreme, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Not much in the way of snow. Of course, we're getting to that time of year where we're about due for some snowfall. We're going to be getting behind on that if we don't get some snow here soon. Of course, the southern U.S. is getting plenty right now. Our time will come, but not anytime soon for heavy snow.
For sure. And we'll kind of take a look at those impacts that the South felt with this system. We're also going to take a little bit of a look at what's going on in California again with the wildfires, a little bit of a comparison to how big those fires are, kind of put it in perspective that you might understand a little bit more. It's hard to sort of get the sense of it from far away.
Absolutely, but we've put a graphic together, specifically you've put a graphic together that I think is going to pretty well show just how big some of those fires are out there and how much they're having an impact on those folks out in California.
Yeah.
But first, we do have some things that we're going to be dealing with here in eastern Iowa as we have a look at what you need to know. Next big thing we're watching for is a few flurries tonight. Now, these are fairly light flurries, not much in the way of travel impacts, but we are going to be watching for another chance as we get into the weekend. As we go through the weekend as well, temperatures are going to be staying mild. We do have some changes that are on the way next week as temperatures are going to fluctuate a little bit. They'll turn off colder and then they'll get warmer once again. And then, like I mentioned, as we go through the weekend later into Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be watching for another system to move through. It's going to bring us a little bit of light snowfall. Could have some minor impacts for any driving around that you're doing on Sunday. Marion is one of those places that saw a few flurries flying around earlier this evening. Looks like those have since tapered off as the city cam is frozen. Anyway, temperatures are in the 20s right now, 29 in Cedar Rapids, 28 in Dubuque, 31 is your warm spot in Iowa City, and those winds are fairly light out of the west as we continue through the evening. As we have a look at satellite and radar, you can see that pocket of snow that recently passed through Marion. It's now trekking its way off to the southeast, just north of Tipton, just south of Anamosa. And as we go through the rest of our night, we're going to be seeing an increase in moisture, which has led to some of those snow flurries today. But as we go through the evening, skies will eventually clear as temperatures fall into the teens. Now, as we go through the next couple of days, again, temperatures stay mild like you mentioned, and we're going to stay dry, but we do have some colder air on the way.
We do. We're going to feel that in just a little bit. We'll show you when and how cold in just a little bit as well. But first, it's a weekend full of hopefully fun for you and all around eastern Iowa. Meteorologist Joe Winters has tonight's forecast for fun.
Forecast for fun as we head into the weekend. There are some things going on. Certainly we'll have to watch for some of that snow, of course, that you'll hear about. Maybe some slick travel later on Saturday into the day on Sunday. If you're out walking, Saturday provides a pretty nice day. Sunday, certainly in the morning, with some of that light snow lingering, could be a bit slick on some of the trails if you're out or the sidewalk. And then we're chilly as we head into Monday as temperatures drop down in the teens. Winds will be stronger as well. That'll put the wind chills down in the single digits. At the Imon Ice Arena tonight, we do have that puck drop at 7:05, Sioux City's in town. Again, a flurry or two possible, 31 degrees. Again, great time to have the Rough Riders back. Should not provide any travel difficulties. Saturday, it's Iowa City, Indiana at Iowa. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. It's a blackout game. 30 degrees. That's on Saturday. Again, the travel should be fine as we head to the game. However, on the way home, you're going to want to watch. There'll be some snow showers in the area, certainly causing some slick travel in spots and stretches. By the time the Iowa women's basketball team tips off at 2 p.m. on Sunday, any of that morning snow should be done. So going to the game, maybe a slippery spot or stretch. Indiana is at Iowa. It's a gold-out game with 31 degrees. Of course, the holiday countdown with us as well. Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, all coming quick. Our ski report also shows, though, that the hills are open across the area. Lots of runs as well. Not a lot of new snow, but plenty in our skiing areas for you to get out and enjoy. That's a look at our forecast for fun.
Wildfires in the Los Angeles area do continue to burn with only minimal containment, according to officials. This video comes from the Pacific Palisades neighborhood where numerous homes sit as piles of rubble. Now, we do have a graphic here showing you the area that the Palisades wildfire has covered. It's one of the biggest fires that is currently burning out in Southern California. You can see it has burned 20,000 acres, or the equivalent of 31.9 square miles. Now, that is a lot of land. If we were to put it in perspective, how big would that be burning a chunk of eastern Iowa? Well, we can zoom out, and then we can zoom back in over to eastern Iowa. And if we were to overlay that same spatial coverage, well, that's looking at 82% of the land area of Iowa City and Coralville combined being completely burned. Now, something to keep in mind is these wildfires out in California aren't burning through entirely urban areas like what this graphic would show in theory in Iowa City and in Coralville. However, the fires are still burning through neighborhoods, still impacting a lot of areas in California, both urban and rural. So in general, a very large wildfire that has unfortunately displaced and had a lot of impact in not only the human impact, but also a natural impact as well, as we've seen a lot of damage that has occurred.
Now, your first alert forecast with meteorologist Corey Thompson.
We've seen a few snowflakes flying around eastern Iowa today. The bulk of snow stayed out of the area, but later this afternoon and evening, we've seen a little bit more start to develop. View from our Springville city cam shows one of those spots that have seen a little bit, but notice the impact from it. Maybe a little bit of extra wetness to the roads, and in some places it has stuck a little bit more than that depending on the intensity of those little snow showers moving through. For the most part, it's fairly limited impact, but we do want you, of course, to use a little extra caution when those snowflakes are flying. You never quite know when you're going to have a little trouble with traction. Now, temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s out there, not super cold, but when you factor in those winds out of the west, still between about 5 to 10, it's more like the low 20s. Pinpoint Doppler radar shows what we're facing. Notice how they are fairly scattered in nature, and only a couple of them on the heavier side. Anamosa just saw one move through that probably produced a pretty good amount of snow in a short time. By that I mean about a dusting or so. Cedar Rapids Metro seeing some of those lighter flurries or snow showers, and other parts of eastern Iowa have been too. Just that small stretch of highway between about the Marion area up toward Anamosa reported as partially covered with snow at this point, thanks to those little heavier bursts moving through. But most of eastern Iowa in totally fine shape, at least according to the Iowa DOT. Now tonight, your first alert forecast calls for temperatures that will dip into the teens. We'll actually see skies later on turn partly cloudy. We've got quite a bit of overcast out there right now, but that will tend to diminish at least a little bit. So we will start the day off on Saturday with a little bit of sunshine, and then more clouds will build again as we go through the day. Later in the evening, we could see some snow showers develop too. That's when we'll have the opportunity for adding to whatever snow we have on the ground. Not much out there yet, but lows or highs tomorrow in the low 30s. Pinpoint Futurecast view shows what we have tonight. Those scattered snow showers coming to an end within the next couple of hours as this area of cloud cover tends to track away. So by 4 o'clock, we're seeing some of those breaks in the clouds. At 7 o'clock, it's a mix of sun and clouds for the start of your day. Now by noon, not much change, but notice how our winds are now out of the south. That's going to bring in a slightly warmer air mass that does allow our temperatures to get close to freezing again. It's also going to push in a little bit of moisture. And as the storm system approaches from the northwest, we're going to be on the warm side of it, but not quite warm enough that we're going to see our precipitation type change out of snow, it appears at this point. So light snow develops across the area tomorrow evening, and that could cause some slick spots. Once the sun goes down, we're going to start to see our temperature decrease a little bit and fall below freezing. And so any snow that will fall does have the potential to stick. So that time period from about 7 or 8 o'clock tomorrow evening through the overnight hours, watch out for some of those slick spots to develop. By later in the morning on Sunday, we will see that snow potential at least come to an end. Probably keep it around a decent amount of cloud cover for a good portion of the day. Now your snowfall forecast traced to 2 inches across all of eastern Iowa. We're going to keep it on the lighter end, but some of those higher totals are possible. It does look like north of Interstate 80 up toward our northeast zone. That's where those larger numbers are a little more likely. Now winds will be fairly brisk as the system moves through, and especially behind it. Sunday and Monday is when they'll kick in from the west and northwest at a pretty strong clip, and that will tend to bring in a much chillier air mass for the start of the week. Look here on Monday and Tuesday, where those bright pink colors represent colder conditions, and looking ahead longer than that, we'll just see those cold conditions last for a brief period of time. Pretty sharp ups and downs this time. After a week that was fairly consistent in terms of temperatures, we're going to see those numbers vary quite a bit more as we go through the next several days, which I guess brings a little variety to the area.
It does, yeah. We're not getting a whole lot of variety for precipitation, so take what you can. Variety in temperatures.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. Now we will have some clearer skies coming up soon too, especially when those cold temperatures kick in.
Yes.
But that does mean you get an opportunity to look up and see what you can see in the sky. And meteorologist Joe Winters is back with this edition of Beyond the Weather.
In January, when we have the dry atmosphere out there, we can see some of our clearest nighttime skies. It gives us some of the best chances of the year to take a look beyond the weather. Here's what we see in January as far as our planets are concerned. If you're a planetary viewer, morning in the southeast sky will be Mercury, Venus in the evening sky in the southwest, Mars can be found in the late evening in the southern sky, Jupiter is up in the evening in the southern sky, and Saturn, right around sunset it starts, and you'll see it in the southwest sky. Now, speaking of planets, one thing you want to watch as we head through the month of January. Here's a look at early January. We're looking at our southwest sky. And people have been asking, what's that bright object in the southwest sky? Well, that's the planet Venus. But very near Venus right now as well is the planet Saturn. Very easy to see with the naked eye. Take some binoculars, kind of discern maybe the phase of Venus right now. That's what it looks like in early January. And all throughout the month in the southwest sky in the fairly early evening hours, want you to take a look at these two planets, because what will happen is they will actually switch positions from our vantage point as we move through the late part of January. That means by late January, Saturn will be closer to the horizon. The brighter and more prominent Venus will be higher off the horizon. So again, something to follow for you this month beyond the weather. As we take a look at our moon phases, coming up, of course, is our full moon on the 13th. The 21st is our last quarter. New moon comes on the 29th, and our first quarter comes on February 5th. Our January 13th full moon, it's known as the wolf moon, named after how long howls of the wolves can be particularly loud and vocal in the first months of the year. Many full moon names come from Native American cultures, which hold a lot of respect, not fear, for wolves. Also, the January full moon is known as the old moon, can be known as the ice moon, or the moon after Yule. Full moon, though, January 13th, coming up, our full wolf moon. If you're looking for the International Space Station, we do have a pretty good chance to see it. That would be coming up next Thursday, 5:57 p.m. So the sun will have set. You'll see a bright object visible in the west-southwest sky. It's a 6-minute flight, so you're going to see it for quite a period of time. Its max height is about 64 degrees off the horizon. It'll move from the west-southwest to the northeast, so you'll certainly want to take a look at that. As far as our viewing for the next couple of days, red means poor, green means good. Not great as we head through the end of our week, but as we head into Saturday morning, there could be some areas of clearing. Right now, Saturday into Sunday does look pretty cloudy, but next week, early week, there does look like some clearing that will move in, which can help us out. As far as any upcoming rocket launches, there's what we've got right now coming up at the Cape, as well as Starbase Texas. And don't forget, the Lunar Trailblazer goes up in February. That's a complete look at things you can see beyond the weather.
And beyond eastern Iowa, a winter storm brought substantial snowfall to areas that aren't always accustomed to it. Here's scenes from Atlanta, where road crews and people are coping with 2 to 4 inches of fresh snowfall, putting some salt on the streets down there. And of course, folks having to remember how to walk on the snow as well. And kids in northern Alabama were enjoying the snow earlier today. In the Huntsville area, they got in some sledding, snowball fights, and even more wintry fun than that. Snow totals there were about 3 to 5 inches. Many folks in many areas had the chance to enjoy the snow. Jake Tester from our Gray Media sister station KAIT in Jonesboro, Arkansas, reports on a rare neighborhood tradition.
Enjoying the snow?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about coming out in the snow today?
Sledding.
You like sledding?
For the city of Paragould, all this snow means one thing. It's time to close Hunt Street, a tradition for those that live here, and it's the perfect hill when the conditions are just right.
Snow's just now packing down, and I'll tell you this right here, as soon as they get that snow packed down, it's going to be flying. They're going to be flying down this hill all the way down this side. So y'all come out and have fun.
And for a lot of the Paragould residents, it's special for them to come out here and enjoy the snow, just like they did as kids.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We used to come out here and sled down Hunt Hill all the time as kids. It's definitely a little bit harder now as an adult, and the snow's still kind of fluffy, so everybody's out here trying to get it packed down, make it a little bit more fun to sled. So.
And then some were even able to pass that tradition off to the next generation.
We grew up doing this. You know, every year there's a big snow, we always came here, so it's pretty cool.
Just enjoy being here with our friends and family and people, the rest of the people here on the hill.
That's super cool. Looks super fun there too. That's the area that saw some pretty good snowfall based on these radar estimates of where some of the heaviest returns were. Central Arkansas up into northeast Arkansas. Obviously radar coverage doesn't cover it all, but yeah, healthy totals of several inches across most of the Mid-South. Not seeing it here. Many areas down there have seen more snow for their season than we have. Now, the snow is still falling in a good portion of the Ohio Valley in association with this system, as well as North Carolina, Virginia, starting to see some of that. This all moves on tonight out to shore, too. And so we will see that come to an end and people just having to clean up behind it.
And we are going to be looking at a few snow chances in our area over the next couple of days, but nothing quite to the caliber of what the southern U.S. has seen over the last 24 hours. We are going to watch for a chance, like Corey mentioned, late tomorrow night and into the start of your day on Sunday. You'll also notice, like Corey mentioned as well, mild temperatures this weekend are going to turn off pretty chilly by the time we get to the start of next week. Monday, we're looking at highs in the teens, low of around 1 degree. So make sure that you bundle up if you're going out anywhere on Monday or on Monday night. And again, watch for gusty winds as we get into Sunday. Northwest 20 to 30 is going to help usher in some of that colder air. Beyond that, we are going to watch for a cold start to next week, and we're going to be seeing a bit of a temperature swing. We're in the teens for the first half of the week, and then temperatures start to rise as we get to the later part of the week. Now, in terms of where we are compared to average, we're going to turn off colder, like I mentioned, well below average for a period of time, and then we'll become warmer than average as we get towards the end of your week, and in fact, highs above freezing, close to 40 by the time we get to your day on Friday. Looking out beyond the end of the 9-day, we are going to be watching for colder temperatures, however. Pretty good shot at the Midwest seeing colder than average temperatures. So January is here, and it certainly feels like it. Enjoy the mild spells. I won't go so far as to call it warm because we are at our warmest, just barely above freezing. But we have our cold days, we have our somewhat mild days. So if you enjoy the cold weather, there's a couple days for you there. If you like milder weather, you'll have your days close to 40 as we get towards the end of next week.
I say, assuming it comes to pass, 40 by the end of next week will feel kind of on the warm side.
It will, especially since we'll be used to those highs in the teens, lows in the single digits.
Can never get used to it, personally at least.
I can if I spend enough time out in it. It hurts getting used to it, though.
All right, fair enough. I guess you just got to go through it, and we'll all get through it together. But thanks for joining us this week on First Alert Weather Now. Back here Monday evening, same place, same time. Have a great weekend.